What's going on, guys? Chris Albert here with the Warrior Soul Podcast, and today I'm going to cover a question. It's actually the most popular question I get from veterans as the host of the Warrior Soul Podcast. You see, I'm constantly getting reached out to from other veterans who want to do good, who want to do good for the veteran community. And the biggest question I get is whether or not they should open up their own veterans charity. And I want to let you know that I admire this. I think it's amazing that there's so many veterans out there who are motivated to help, but I think it's a bad idea. I don't think that we should be opening up more veterans charities. And I'll tell you why in a second. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the Warrior Soul Podcast. What is it? It's a show that I run, that I host, that empowers U.S. military veterans and everybody else willing to listen to live their best lives. We do that by spreading good ideas, tools, tactics, and strategies so that we empower veterans to become stronger, smarter, and more resilient. And if you're not a veteran, you can listen to it too, because anything we talk about, well, it can apply to almost anybody, right? As long as you're a human being with a brain who's got some ambition in life, who wants to become better, who wants to become stronger, you can benefit from the Warrior Soul Podcast. I've had on some amazing guests, including Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power. I've had on Chris Bell. I've had on Les Stroud, the Survivor Man. I've got Boss Rutan coming on in a few weeks. I just had on Nick Kumalatzos, really great dude. And I've got Vincent Rocco Vargas, really awesome guy. You might have seen him on the Matt Best channel. He's coming on next week. So definitely go check it out. It's up on iTunes right now. The last show we did was with Nick Kumalatzos, and you'll get so much out of it. You will not be disappointed. Now, back to this question. Why don't I think we need to be opening up more veterans charities? Well, it comes down to a simple fact. Right now, currently, there are over 433,000. 433,000. That's close to 500,000 veterans charities in the United States. Think about that. How many veterans are there? And I'm actually not sure of this number, but I'm pretty sure that we're close to having at least one charity for every half veteran, right? It's crazy, right? 433,000 veterans charities. And let's think about what's actually going on out there. That number that we constantly hear about, that I don't like even saying. Well, that number of veteran suicides that happens every day, well, that hasn't gone down. The number of homeless veterans, that hasn't gone down either. The amount of veterans entering the VA system with full-blown diabetes, 25%, that has not gone down. And so let's think about it. What's wrong here? Is it the charity's fault? And I would say no. There's a lot of organizations out there that are doing fantastic work, right? There are some organizations out there who are doing amazing work. Is it the government's fault? Well, we could argue about that. My personal opinion is that while we probably want a little bit more from the government in terms of helping transition out of the military, I don't think that veterans should rely on the government. I don't think that anybody should rely on the government. My personal opinion is that we are going to fix our issues when we empower ourselves. When we put ourselves in position to actually have influence, to actually be able to lead, to actually have an impact on other veterans, right? And here's what I'll say. If you go out there and you try to open up a veterans charity right now and you're opening it up from scratch, what you're essentially doing is you're starting from zero. You're taking your talent and you are applying it to trying to start an organization from scratch, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? A lot of people like the tough road. But think about it this way. There's 433,000 charities out there that are all trying to collect donations centered around the same issue. People can only donate to a few organizations at a time, right? Or usually one organization. They only got so much money to donate. And so you are putting yourself in competition with other veterans organizations that are centered around the same issue. They all want to bring that number down to zero. They all want to help veterans. And you're jumping into a massive melee for donations for those to try to get those resources. So what would be a better option than opening up a veterans charity? A better option would be to say, well, why don't I find a charity that's currently in existence that's doing amazing work? A charity like Save the Brave up at savethebrave.org. They run veterans camaraderie events. They take veterans fishing. They take veterans out to golf tournaments. They instill athletic competition, right? And they get guys together. And they also help a lot of Gold Star families out. They're doing amazing work. So why don't you volunteer with them? Or why don't you donate to them? Or why don't you see if you can contact Nick and Scott Using and see if you can open up your own chapter, right? Or maybe you can contact another charity that's doing amazing work. And maybe you can try to open up another chapter of another charity. Maybe they'll be able to give you some support, give you some branding, right? But instead, what we do is we constantly just try to open up more charity organizations that are fighting for dollars, that are fighting for resources, when actually resources are pretty scarce, right? Like I said, there's not a lot of us who are really moving that needle forward. But if we all come together and we all start working together, then we can move that needle forward. It boggles my mind. I have a friend who is he's currently trying to put a database together of veterans charities, right? And so listen, if you're already started one, let me know and I can get you up on that database. But if you haven't started one yet, try to find an organization that you can work with. Now, here's to the bigger question. What is truly going to help veterans out? What is truly going to put us into a better position? And my opinion is that we help veterans when we help ourselves, when we empower ourselves, when we work hard, when we earn more, when we put ourselves into leadership positions. You know why? Because then at some point, you're going to have enough resources to actually contribute to the effort. But if we're all kind of wallowing, if we're all kind of fledgling, if we're all having problems in our own lives that aren't getting solved, then we're not going to be in any position to really do anything, right? You got to put that mask on yourself before you put it on the person next to you, right? So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you are moving yourself forward. Make sure that you are empowering yourself, right? That is so important. Every time you do, you are actually helping the veteran community, right? And beyond that, like I said, there are so many great organizations that are currently in existence. Well, see how you can help. See how you can get out into your community and see how you can contribute to an effort that's already working. That's my opinion. You might disagree. If you do, let me know. Put your comments below. If you like what I had to say, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and please head over to the Warrior Soul podcast and check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're everywhere, right? Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, definitely check us out. And if you can, write us a review on iTunes. All the other platforms are great, but iTunes are where the reviews really count. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'll be back at you soon with some more awesome content.